I'm going to get to Donald Trump.
Mr. President, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Last week, you were in New York for this arraignment. The world watched it. You've not given an interview since. You were there, I think, 57 minutes. Tell us from your perspective what that was like.
Well, it was a horrible thing because I did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. You look at even the pundits and the legal analysis, Greg Jarrett, all of these really talented people, they're saying he didn't do anything wrong. So that's number one. Number two, they were incredible. When I went to the courthouse, which is also a prison in a sense, they signed me in.
Wow. My man has been reading Foucault. Okay. The courthouse, it's like a prison. Many people say the school is like a prison, but you know what's the real prison? Prison.
And I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough, tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry. They'd say, 2024, sir, 2024. And tears are pouring down their eyes. I've never seen anything like that. Those people are phenomenal. Those are your police.
Yep.
Those are the people that work at the courthouse. They're unbelievable people. Many of them were in tears or close to it. Many apologists were sorry, sir. We're sorry. They had to have me do certain things. They said, sir, I can't believe I have to ask you. I can't even believe that I have to ask you to do it. You could see. So in one sense, it was beautiful because they get it. In another sense, you know, it's nasty. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach me about that. That wasn't like
they
in
didn't
the
know
cards.
about the arraignment part?
That wasn't, we didn't have a class on arraignment. And, you know, it was.
He's so back. Ron DeSantis doesn't have like a fucking fraction, an ounce of the charisma that he demonstrates in this interview. Okay? He's literally bullying someone who he knows in private has talked shit about him, while simultaneously having a lot of fucking clippable moments. He's back. I wonder if Trump knows Tucker shit talked him. Are you kidding me, dude? Come on. Of course he knows, dude. He's the most narcissistic, thin-skinned motherfucker on the planet. Of course he knows.
It was a sad day in many ways, and in many ways it was a beautiful day because the people understand. I didn't know this was happening.
I'm about to get a platform ban for showing you cuckold porn. Okay? This is literally big blonde bull fucks the cuckold on camera. Okay? This is like Tucker Carlson. You know what? Remember when I said, I wonder what could be more humiliating for Sneeko now that he got like eviscerated by Charlie on the timeline? This is it. If Sneeko somehow successfully launched a right-wing grift for himself, got to like an incredibly prominent position, became one of the most powerful pundits in the country, okay, and then got cucked on national television like this, I would say that would probably be the only rope that he could shoot that's even fucking going to be more embarrassing, more humiliating than the one that Moist Critical gave him.
But the poll numbers have gone through the roof. The people get it. And the other ones are hoaxes also. You know, the box hoax. Look at Biden. He's got 1,850 boxes. And, you know, that's a hoax. And then the one in Atlanta where I had a perfect phone call. This is all weaponization. They're weaponizing our justice system, Tucker. And they think if they go and give you a subpoena, you know, I guess I'm very well known and people understand it and they get it. And maybe I have a bigger platform so I can explain it. But if you're somebody, a Republican, let's say, running for office, and you get a subpoena, you might as well resign because you're not going to be able to survive it. And the voters aren't going to handle it. The voters aren't going to take it. What they're doing is weaponizing the system, and there's never been anything like it. And it's all disinformation. You see, the other day, Afghanistan, one of the worst things I've ever seen, I think the most embarrassing moment that this country's ever had, frankly, the way we got out, not the getting out, we had to get out, it was ridiculous to be there. And I had that so good, so tight, so tough. I spoke to the leader, Abdul, I said, Abdul, if you do anything, you're gonna get hit really hard. Literally, he said, but sir, why? He goes, why oh why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you'll have to figure that one out, Abdul. But we didn't have one death in 18 months. He knew. Not one death. And then to see the way we got out, like we were surrendering, like taking the military out first, leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind, giving up Bagram. I was going to keep Bagram. I was getting out, but not for Afghanistan. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. It's one of the biggest Air Force bases in the world, I think the biggest, with runways that go 10,000 feet. I was keeping that because of China, not because of Afghanistan.
Right.
And they left everything. They left in the dark of night. They left the lights on. They left the dogs, by the way. You know, the people say about the dogs. They left the dogs. Everyone, you know, the dog lovers, and you got a lot of them. I love dogs. You love dogs. But they left the dogs. People said, what? One of the first questions I got, what did they do with the dogs? Mostly German Shepherds. They left them. What they did, the way they got out, was so horrible. Okay, everybody knows that was their plan. That had nothing to do with me. I was getting out, too. We would have gotten out with strength and dignity. And what happened? They got out. And the other day I hear, yeah.
I love the Abdul. I sent him a photo of his house. That's like, I mean, that's another great one. Straight up. I'll admit it. That's a great one. Like, he's just saying he, like, threatened. He's saying he fucking threatened the fucking leader of the Taliban.
Shepherds. I said, what lovers? And you got a lot of them. I love dogs. You love dogs. But they left the dogs. People said, what? One of the first questions I got, what did they do with the dogs? Mostly German Shepherds. They left them. What they did, the way they got out, was so horrible. Okay, everybody knows that was their plan. That had nothing to do with me. I was getting out, too. We would have gotten out with strength and dignity. And what happened? They got out. And the other day I hear, yeah, it was Trump's fault. Oh, that's right. It was Trump. I was gone for a long time. I would have been out faster than them. We would have had all the equipment. We would have had the American citizens. We left hostages. We left Americans behind. Many, I think many more than you think. And we had 13 soldiers killed. And nobody ever mentions the fact that we had many maimed so badly. No arms, no legs. Their face was obliterated. This is the way this guy got out. We would have gotten out with dignity and strength. We were going to. But I was taking 100% of, I said, I want every nail. I want every screw. I want the tents. They said, sir, the tents are very hard to take out. I said, I want the tents. I want the tanks. I want the planes. I want everything. And a couple of them fought me on it. Like me.
I said, I don't care. I want the tents. That's so awesome.
Millie, he said, sir, I think it's cheaper to leave the equipment behind. I said, let me ask you, we have a plane that costs $100 million. It's sitting there. All it needs is a tank of gas, right? Give me a little jet fuel. We'll fly it to Pakistan or any place else, or we'll fly it directly home. You say it's cheaper to leave a $100 million plane? Sir, I think overall it's cheaper. These are idiots we're dealing with. They left $85 billion worth of equipment. They left our American citizens behind. And they moved the military out first. No, you move the military out last. I did a little skit with a 5-year-old kid. I said, let me ask you, here's the situation. I explained the situation. I said, would you take the military out first, or would you take it out last? I take it out last, 5-year-old. But they took the military out first, and they were afraid of our military. When I was there, they were afraid. We didn't have one soldier killed in 18 months, Tucker. Not one soldier was killed in 18 months. And then we got out like we surrendered. I think it was the single most embarrassing day in the history of our country. It was totally their fault. They didn't go by anything because, you know, we had a system of getting out. But if the Taliban, in particular, the Taliban, because that's where the action was, right? When I called Abdul, the press went crazy. The fake news went crazy. Why did he call an enemy? I said, well, it's Jesse James. I used to ask him, why did he rob banks? He said, that's where the money is. Why did I call the head of the Taliban? Because that's where the killing was. And he's there now, Abdul. I'm sure he likes me. He called me Your Excellency. I don't know if he calls Biden Your Excellency.
Fuck. Bro, only Trump can get away with saying that the leader of the fucking Taliban loves me. And then everyone will look at that and go, oh, hell yeah, brother. Like, I love that. You're so right. That's a good thing. I love that. The Taliban, they love me.
Probably. I mean, you know, they're one of the largest arms dealers now in the world. They're selling the $85 billion worth of it because they only need 5% of it.
Of course.
They're selling the equipment. They're one of the largest, I think, second arms dealers. Brand new helicopters, brand new airplanes, brand new tanks.
The funniest part, first of all, that's not true, but no, he's not wrong. They are a pretty fucking, no, they're a pretty massive arms dealer now. Or not an arms dealer, but like they do have a lot of fucking weapons and they do have a lot of like used Humvees and shit like that. I think they have like a pretty massive, pretty sizable fleet now. You want to know why? Because we're the largest arms dealer and we brought them there. The point is, America is so powerful and so large of an arms dealer that it literally doesn't matter. Our trash being left behind makes that country immediately become like not the second, but like a competitive fucking arms dealer. Our trash and alone is enough for nations to be like, we have one of the most powerful fleets of armored personnel carriers on the planet now.
Unbelievable what we left behind. We ran, and there was no reason to. I had them, I could have stayed there for 5 years if I wanted to. I wanted out. 21 years was enough. I wanted out. We shouldn't have been there in the first place. But when I see what happens, when I see the level of stupidity, and because of that, it's all a big web. Because of that, I think Putin, who would have never gone into Ukraine when I was there, would have never, I talked to him about it often, would have never, ever done that. When he saw that.
Wait, what? Did he just say he talks to Putin often about invading Ukraine? What the fuck?
I wasn't there, and he saw these fools, these stupid people. And think of that, the way they left Afghanistan, and nobody was fired. I fired a lot of people because if they didn't do a good job, I'd fire them.
May I ask, you talked to Putin about Ukraine. What did you say to him?
I could see that he loved it. And I said...
he loved Ukraine.
He considers it to be a part of Russia.
Yeah.
I said, not when I'm president. We had a very good relationship. I mean, look, I was the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Dude, I too often level cities into the fucking ground when I love it a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I am by no means a NatSec Ukrainian flag in the bio liberal, right? As you all know, I am funded by Vladimir Putin himself directly. I am his most loyal soldier. But holy fuck, dude, that is a wild, absolutely wild take. Yeah, Putin loved it. He loved Ukraine. He wanted to liberate it. He literally just admitted to telling Putin to wait to invade until he was no longer president. This guy's insane. No, first of all, none of those things happened, chatter. Hello, he's lying. It's just funny that he's lying in that direction, which you're right. That is the implication of what he's basically saying, which is weird because, like, he's lying. He could have said anything, but he chose to say that. That's what you need to remember. Like, that, it's like very odd. If you're going to lie, just lie about anything else. He's just like, no, Putin, he said he loved Ukraine. I told him, don't invade yet. No, no, no. Believe me, I will stop you.
I closed up his pipeline. You never heard the words Nord Stream 2 until I came along. Nord Stream 2 is their pipeline. And I had a great relationship with them, but it was very tough because they had a fake Russia investigation. And I told him, and he told me.
This part is true. He did stop Nord Stream 2.
He said, it's very hard for us to deal, don't you think? I said, very hard, because we have a fake investigation that turned out to be a fake. For 2 years it went on. And we could have done very well with Russia. They have great minerals. They have great things that we want, we could have, and they need the money and they need other things. But that interfered. That was a terrible thing. That was actually a treasonous thing to do. Those people should have been arrested. They made it up. They made up a problem with Russia that didn't exist. Now they've all admitted it didn't exist. It was just on to the next one. I often say, they said to me the other day, one of your fellow journalists said, who's the biggest problem, sir? Is it China? Could it be Russia? Could it be North Korea? No, I said, the biggest problem is from within. It's these sick, radical people.
Ooh, that's a good line.
Because we can handle if we're smart.
God damn, that's such a good line, dude. I mean, I say that about the Republican Party, like, and so does Noam Chomsky, to be fair. It's a bit of a plagiarization from Noam Chomsky, but like, yeah, the Republican Party is the greatest fucking, the greatest burden for American prosperity. They have done unimaginable harm to the United States of America. They've done unimaginable harm globally as a force of terror, but especially when it comes to domestic issues, like the Republican Party is like Osama bin Laden will never amount. Like his toll will be nothing in comparison to the Republican Party's advocacy towards American evisceration. Okay, like straight up. But couldn't you almost say the same thing about DNC? Yes, I can, and I will.
Smart. We can handle Russia, China. I did. I took in billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in anything, and they respected me. He's the same thing, you know. I told him, you can't go into Taiwan. You can't do it. I won't tell you exactly what I said, but it was something that probably a lot of people wouldn't like if they heard it, but it was very tough. Don't go into Taiwan. If you do, we're going to have problems. Other than that, we're going to be great relationship. We're going to have a great relationship. And he said to me when I said we're going to do something, if he goes in, no, you wouldn't do it. I'll do that. I swear I'll do that. And he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. The same thing with Putin. I said I was going to do something really nasty if he goes into Ukraine. He said, no, you're not going to do that. I said, I will. And he didn't believe me either, but he believed me 10%. And the 10%, you never heard talk about going into Ukraine. You never heard talk about going into Taiwan until I was no longer there. Now, what a mess the world is in. What a mess.
Ay, ay, ay. He's right. What a mess.
Do you think Biden will stay in the race?
Look, I watch him just like you do. And I think it's almost inappropriate for me to say it. But I deal with other people. I don't see how it's possible. And it's not an age thing. You know, like I say, I have friends that are 88, 89, 92. Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, is 95.
God damn, he's old, bro. Like, you think I'm old? I know even older people.
Smart as hell. He's sharp as he was. I mean, he's, you know, mentally, Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, founder of Home Depot, one of the founders. I mean, I had a meeting with him a few months ago. He was 100%. I know people that built their fortunes from 80 to 90. They were always struggling, and they made a fortune from 80 to 90. A couple of people in particular. It's amazing. He's not too old. You know, his age. I think they do the age thing because I'm 4 or 5 years behind. They say this is a way of getting Trump. Let's go him up. But there's something wrong. I saw his answer today on television about whether or not he was going to run to a very nice guy named Al Roker. I mean, you can't get a softer question than that. That was a long answer. Talking about the eggs and the this and that. Look, I don't think he can, but say what you want. They didn't expect him to get it. Yeah. You know, people could say he won an election. You know, it always goes, I got the most votes of any person, any sitting president in history.
We still don't know what the fucking nose drip comes from, right? Is it the Sudafed? Like, we still don't fully understand where the fucking nose thing's coming from, right? Because, like, the Zaza, they're saying, believe me, I'm the real Zaza smoker.
I got 15 million less I couldn't lose. They're surrounded by vicious, smart people, radical left people, but they're very smart and they're very vicious. It's not him. It's not him. He's now in Ireland. He's not going to have a news conference. When the world is exploding, I own property in Ireland. I'm not going to Ireland. The world is exploding around us. You could end up in a third world war, and this guy's going to be in Ireland and not having a news conference. He hasn't had a news conference, I guess, in months. I saw today where he hasn't. It's been.
Well, he can't. So if he doesn't run, if he's taken out by his own party, or who knows what happens, but it doesn't seem like he's capable of running again, who does run?
Well, obviously the one that they would talk about would be the vice president, Kamala. That would be the one that they talk about. But I don't think she's performed well on the big stage. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But there are a certain group of people that will go crazy if it's not her. They're going to be very angry if it's not her. That's a problem. You have a very ambitious guy in California, but he's done a terrible job with the state. I used to get along great with him, you know, when I was president. I got along really good, Gavin.
Well, you got along with Gavin Newsom?
I did. I really did. He was always very nice to me.
Gruesome, they're calling him. I said, hey, listen, you know, you and my son, you got similar taste. Kimberly Guilfoyle, what a piece of ass.
said the greatest things. He would say things like he's doing a great job. Oh, he was very
About
nice.
you?
About me. That's why I could never hit him, because he was so nice to me. He's just laying in wait, right? But I could, he
What?
was very,
Wait, what the fuck was that?
he's just laying in wait, right?
What? What just happened? Did you just have a fucking aneurysm? What's happening? Laying in wait. The dirt is laying and lying in wait. God, I love him. Just a fucking goat, dude.
But I could, he was very nice to me. And relatively speaking, some of them weren't. We did a good job for the governors. But they talk about him. They talk about some others. I just don't see Biden doing it from a physical or a mental standpoint.
Yes.
I don't see it. But it's been a crazy period of time in the world of politics. But he's surrounded by people. They expected Bernie to win. Now, Bernie's older than Biden, whether you like him or not. He's sharp. I watched him being interviewed the other day. He's 100% sharp. He hasn't lost much, if anything, Bernie Sanders. But, he's older. So it's not an age thing. I just don't see him.
So they're trying to prevent you from making it to the general election by tying you up in lawsuits, charging you with crimes. You've described the process.
It's the old Soviet process.
The old Soviet process. And you've described it as illegitimate. If this goes to trial and you get convicted, how would you respond in the middle of a presidential campaign?
Well,
how would
it's
you respond?
so off. Statute of limitations are years off. It's hard to believe. Usually when you have something like this, the Democrats say, oh, he's terrible, guilty. The Democrats have even said, I'm innocent. I watched some of these, I think it was Andrew McCabe, the FBI guy who I fired. He came out, he said, they've got no case. They've all come out and said it. And then you've had Andrew McCarthy, you've had Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Dershowitz, all of them, everybody, and they're, down the middle people. They see it. They say, there's no crime. There's no anything. Think of it, Tucker. I've been through 7 years of bull investigations. 7 years. They've looked at, I have a very big company, much bigger than they understand. In fact, when they finally got my taxes, they said, whoa. They took them years to get the taxes. They got them. That was the last you ever heard. You never heard one thing about them. But it took them years to get them, because they shouldn't be looking at my taxes. I was surprised the Supreme Court gave them the right. They shouldn't be looking at people. That's sort of another one of the tenets. You don't do that. But I didn't care that much. I just, on principle, I fought them. And they looked. I built a great company. When you do the things that I do, and you employ thousands and thousands of people over the years, just thousands, we've done a great job. And then I ran for president. People were surprised that I won. But I used to see these rallies. And I'll tell you, the rallies are bigger now. The enthusiasm is more now than I've ever seen. So
what do you think, since your poll numbers have risen consistently since they raided this place, Mar-a-Lago?
Well, before they raided.
In August.
They were going up substantially before.
Well, they definitely moved after
Since then, they've really been going up.
So how do you think that your opponents will respond?
I don't know how well. We have two opponents. We have a primary opponent. We have a general election opponent.
I mean the Democratic Party using the legal system.
Well, what they're doing is they're finding, and think of this, they say 11 million pages, but whatever it is, through all of these Democrats' investigations. I had the Mueller hoax. I had impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2. Ukraine, Russia. You knew the Russia. I got that whole term from you. Russia. You'd be screaming it and say, this guy's a comedian. But you remember that whole period of time.
Quite
Russia.
well.
It turned out to be a total fake. But think of this. I tell this story very seldom, but because it's a sad story. So the Russia...
What the fuck are you talking about, Hasan? Why are you so angry that I'm making a joke about how Trump could attack Ron DeSantis by bringing up all the things that Trump has loosely associated Ron DeSantis with? Why is that so frustrating for you? Maybe you just didn't get it because you're unfamiliar with all the things that has happened in the Ron DeSantis, Trump from lovers to fighters arc. You know what I mean? Or why are you so mad? Why you have to be mad? I was joking. Okay, take a second off and reconsider that.
Russia hoax was made up by crooked Hillary Clinton Adam Schiff, the DNC, the Democrat Party. The dossier is a total.
Yeah, he ate that 1 second ban.
You know, on that. We're suing him a lot because, unfortunately, Bill Barr didn't have the courage to do what he should have done. He should have done. He was so afraid of being impeached. So I have to do it civilly. I have to sue people. The Justice Department should have done, because these are criminals. But think of this. So you have all of these millions and millions of pages, and they get you on a non-disclosure agreement? I mean, big numbers, billions and billions of dollars, right? And they get you on a perfect non-disclosure agreement, or they get you on nothing.
The non-disclosure agreement was perfect. No one has ever done a non-disclosure agreement that is as perfect. The perfect phone call. It's a perfect non-disclosure agreement. Awesome. He's the GOAT.
A friend of mine who's a big business guy said, you have to be the most honest guy in the world, because with all of those numbers that you have and those big numbers, they don't have anything. And you have to see, take a look at the people I just mentioned. Look, read what they said. There was no crime. In fact, a lot of people are saying he indicted somebody. There's no crime. That's illegal to do, you know, what he did. So I don't see it going. I mean, we'll have to see.
So, but just to bottom line it, I mean, the purpose of this is to keep you out of the presidential race.
If I weren't running, or if I had bad poll numbers, let's say.
Right.
And again, remember, the Democrats are the party of disinformation. If they want you to run, if they want to run against somebody, they're going to go the opposite. For instance, they don't want to run against me. And now, I just gave you a poll. I'm 9 points up on Biden. But they're the party of disinformation. So what they say is, oh, we want to run against
What kind of crime? We're watching a fucking crime right now. I'm doing the crime. I'm watching a man get fucked and sucked on camera, okay? A very old man.
Now, they always do that. You know, they do that. And other people would do it, but they do it pretty much better than others.
Is there anything they could throw at you legally that would convince you to drop out of the race? If you get convicted in this case in New York,
no, I'd never drop out. No, I'd never drop. It's not my thing. I wouldn't do it.
Hey there. I'm the editor of the channel here. Yeah, I know. Face reveal. I'd like to thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. I hope you enjoy the content. Hopefully you've dropped a like down there and maybe subscribed already. Oh yeah, drop a comment down below saying that you met the editor. You know, it helps a lot. If you'd like to watch more of this content, then why not click on this video?